and welcome back to Life Begins podcast. I'm Grace.
And I'm Shell.
Yeah, and here's for another episode. It's nice to, see you sort of, but yeah. So, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. It's great to see you. We've just been visual for a few weeks now because of, something that's going on in the world. It's not a big thing, no big deal. But so if you are new, if you're watching us via YouTube or Facebook Watch or IGTV, if it's allowed us to be great, then it's really lovely to see you and you can actually see us. And if you're listening through the whole traditional ways, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pod Addict, wherever you find us, like, hi again and all welcome. So it's good to see you. So So today we are just going on to part 2 of what was on the last episode. So previously.
Yeah, it was our episode with Kwesi and Jenae, and we heard from Kwesi last week. And then this week we'll hear more from Jenae.
Yeah. So it's great. It's lovely when we have two-handers. We've got another two-hander as well from earlier in the series 2. We spoke to Mark and Simone, and it's really nice to have two perspectives in a married couple, whatever their endeavours are. So Kwesi spoke a lot about his journey into teaching and how he marries that with creativity and his pursuit as a spoken word artist. And Jenae is also creative and an amazing singer. We talk about that later, but we're just doing this for a bit of a link because we kind of went right in because we're on Zoom and we're cheap and we haven't upgraded. So there we go. Full disclosure, there's no secrets between us. So so we're just going to carry on with Jenae, focusing more on her story as well. But we got any podcast news, Shell? So I can't.
Yes, before we do that, I just wanted to let you know, in case you didn't know, that the British Podcast Awards are open for the Listener's Choice Award, and we would love it if you'd give us a little vote, and you can do that by going to britishpodcastawards.com/vote, and we'd love to get your votes. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. We've been practicing our so what? No, we haven't. Yeah. Oh my gosh, no, but it'd really help us. We're pretty new, and if you've ever listened to an episode or watched an episode and you've enjoyed it, or if you've watched all of them, if you followed us from the beginning and you're just like, hey, support us, it'd be lovely. So thank you.
And as always, do spread the news if you've enjoyed it, and just let other people know about the podcast and share on social media. And
and subscribe whether it's on our socials. But if you are listening via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever, do subscribe and follow us, and you'll get the updates and stuff. So it'd be cool. I think that's it for news. So we'll go on to Jenae and Kwesi. Hello again.
Hi. So now we want to find out more about you, Jenae. So what was your Life Begins moment?
Well, I've been thinking really hard about it, but I think there's so many that I have, but I think I've whittled it down to 2. And I think they don't work without each other. So I really thought about that. So my first one is moving from Wolverhampton to London at 16. And the second one is losing my job at the end of 2019.
Oh, wow.
So there is a big stretch, but actually both of them link really well. So the reason why I picked my life beginning at 16, because I didn't even wait for my GCSE results to come through. I already knew I'm going to London. My mum lived there. In Wolverhampton. I lived with my dad and my stepmom. And little bit like Kwesi saying Clark Kent and Superman, I felt a little bit more like Peter Parker and Spider-Woman. I'll put Spider-Man. Whatever you want to do, non-binary. So at school I was Spider-Man, and at home I felt very much like Peter Parker. There's a lot of different things that go into that, but I just didn't feel like I could really spread myself out. And I just wanted, and also at 16, I told my dad, like, when I'm 16, I want to live with my mom. So that's what I did. I just was like, yeah, I'm going. So I got booked my stepfather in London. He helped me get my coach ticket. I packed my suitcases. My mom was an immigration officer as well. So she was at work in Heathrow Airport. She had no idea I was coming.
Wow.
Going back a bit more, she had said, somebody had spoken to her and said, oh, your daughter will come and live with you. After, there's a whole heap of other things, but says one day your daughter's going to come back to you. But she just didn't know when. Like, I was 16, so packed my bags. It wasn't the want of everybody for me to leave Wolverhampton and go to London.
I bet.
Yeah, it was a real, but I asked ages ago, and I made sure I remembered. 16, I'm out of here. And Wolverhampton was a town, but then it became a city. So it was really like Wolverhampton, everybody know everybody. So it was cool, and my family, like, I have a lot of family everywhere, but there's a lot of family there in Wolverhampton. But it's my granddad who recently passed, my granddad Ricketts. He passed on the 5th of April. Not from coronavirus, but still in the midst of everything. That was really difficult. And it was my grandmother, my dad's mom, who spoke to me, and they were like, go. Like, my grandmother said it was the best decision I ever made. And my granddad was like, there's nothing here for you, in Wolverhampton. Why you gotta stand here? There's nothing here for you. Go on to London. So I was like, wow, I had this energy, like, yeah, okay. So the two people that really wanted, like, were happy for me to be there. And I get to London now, and my mom comes home from work, and I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm here. Like, hey. And she's like, like, so it was very difficult because now there's a teenager in the house. And also now I'm building up this relationship with my mom. And it was a struggle. Like, it was a struggle for both of us. I had my 2 younger sisters there. I came up with all sorts of drama and everything else like that. But my whole idea was, I'm going to London to live with my mom. I'm going to London to show everyone that I'm going to do big. I'm going to make it. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that was basically what it was. I just said goodbye to everybody. I mean, even so much so, I had someone say to me that knew me from school days. And recently I put out a single called Ruby Red, which is a big thing, which we'll come to.
Yeah.
And she messaged me privately, and she says, wow, Jenae, it's so amazing that I see you doing this. I will never forget what you told me before you left school. And I said, well, what was that? She said, you said that one day you're going to see, you said to me, one day you're going to see my name in lights. You're going to see, I'm going to have my name in lights. That's what I said to her. And I said, really? So I said, she goes, yeah. And I've never forgot it. And I was like, wow, like, it really just kind of brought it home. But making that decision at 16, and that was to move from Wolverhampton, which is a town really, to go all the way down to London. And I was just like, I'm going to do big. I'm going to go do performing arts and things like that. But I think mainly what the reason was for me going down was to be with my mom.
Right.
And and that was mainly the foundation. The cover was, I want to go and do something big. I want to show my family, I want to show my friends that I am somebody that can do these things. I can sing, I can dance. I was an all-rounder at school, except for like maths. I got E excellent in maths, E for excellent in GCSEs. But yeah, like running, athletics, I was one of the fastest people in my school. Art, my dad used to draw a lot, so I was drawing a lot. Singing, drama, you name it. I was PE. You know, they have the beep tests. There was only like 2 of us that would stay in, and then the beep test would be over. Like, get to the point where, okay, guys, we've not got any more time and lessons over, but we'd still be running. Like, I'm so competitive, but I was very, and being very vulnerable now, but quite insecure. So I had adapted and found a way of putting up this thing where I'm confident, I'm really this, I'm really that, to the point that people start believing that, and now I have to stay with it. So I was just like, so going to London was really big and so amazing. I had a lot of freedom.
Okay.
I had a lot of, go on.
Oh no, I was going to say just 2 questions before you go on as well, because especially in relation to your family, I don't know how much you want to get into that, but question A, why didn't you tell your mum before you went? I'm just quite interested to know. And then B, how did your dad respond? Because your grandparents, by the sounds of it, were just amazing, and like Grandpa Ricky, that's amazing. But like, how did your dad respond to you saying like, okay, juices, I'm out? And why didn't you tell your mum?
So for my mum, it was a surprise.
Okay.
I wanted to surprise her, and like, she was definitely surprised. I think it wasn't the case that she didn't want me to be there. That's not the case. She was happy. It was just like, oh my gosh, my other child is here. My dad, he was a great supporter. He's a great supporter. My PE, my sports day, my dramas, even took me to a music producer, because he believed I could sing. And he was like, okay, well, let's do all of that. But there was still a lot within me that I was struggling with, and very frightened, and a lot of things that I was like, no, but my idea is to go to London, because if I start doing things here now, I'm not going to be able to go to London. Right. So I get to London and I'm like, yeah, I'm there. And I try and sign up for college, because now my GCSEs have come in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm blagging it now. I managed to like stretch out a C for, no, I think it was I got a B for speaking and listening, obviously. So and the funny thing is, they had separated those as 2 different certificates. So speaking and listening, literature, and then English as a whole. So I had like an extra grade because it was on a separate piece of paper. So it was like, oh, it wasn't like all encompassing. So I managed to blag my way into a national diploma for performing arts in West Thames College in London. And I think that was his name, Rufus. What's his name? Rufus. There's a famous actor called Rufus.
He's an older guy. Is he passing? Yeah. Rufus Sewell.
Yeah, so he went there. So that's the claim to fame there. So we went there, but I just didn't. I didn't have the capacity to concentrate. I was just so happy to be in London and having this free time and really kind of carving out this new life. And I didn't even finish college. I didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing is, you're 16. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and Shell both left home at 18, planned no surprises. Do you know what I mean? To go to uni, and that's a big enough thing to adjust to. And so, you know, one of the questions I was going to ask you. So, your 16-year-old dreams, if you can cast your mind back, of like, right, I'm going to London. It's like the whole Dick Whittington story. Do you know what I mean? Go where the lights are brighter and like, how did the expectation and the reality match up? Because that's a lot of change. I wouldn't want to move to London now.
I just told myself and convinced myself, because I've been wanting this for so many years, so nothing was going to stop me. As soon as that happened, I'm going, and it's got to work. It has to work. Right. And my dreams at 16 was performing arts, stage. I wanted to be on the West End. I wanted to do all of those things. But actually, if I look back now, I wasn't really confident that I would have done it. I could do it. I was more confident in more confident in the mask that I put on.
Right.
It's not to say that I couldn't do it. It was just the fact that everything was, all my feet was on the foundation of my mask, which is I've got to show, and my motive was wrong. My motive was I have to show everyone that I can do this. Because most of the time when people said I'm a good singer and whatnot, I needed that. Just like we were talking about the comedians before, I needed somebody to say I was good, and I would always, do you think so? Are you okay? Oh, okay, then I'm a great singer because you've said I'm a great singer.
Do you know where that came from? Do you know where that need for that validation came from?
Yeah, my mum and dad splitting up.
Right.
I had started to get a mind of my own and what I thought was, and I'd built up this whole mask. I'd built up this whole picture, this whole narrative that was kind of true. Yes, Jenae, you can be on stage. Yes, Jenae, you are a singer. Yes, you can do this. But actually it was built, the mask and the narrative was built on the sayings of other people. And I didn't realize until later on. So most of the things that I was doing was just to prove a point, was just to prove to somebody else. But deep down, I was just really frightened and really scared. And not everything that I put my hand to, like I did audition for Lion King, and they put me through for Nala, and also for, on the West End, and also they put me through for the Hyena. And I did it twice. They called me back times, and I just wasn't hitting that part, because that belief within me is like, oh, I can do it. But it's a spiritual thing as well, because actually you can sing, but when there's this, okay, for example, Mary J. Blige can sing, okay? She's not a singer, but she can sing.
Yeah.
The reason why people continue to listen to Mary J. Blige or Janet Jackson, some people say, well, actually, they're not the best singers. Yeah, but the reason why they continue to listen to them is because they believe what they are singing. I believe when Mary J. Blige is on that stage and she's got them knee-high boots on, I believe every word she is saying in that song. But then you can have somebody else that can sing the same song and you just don't believe it.
Yeah,
they can sing it, everything's correct, right, everything's in the right key, everything's sharp, excellence, but there's just nothing there. And
can I add to that? The very first time I met Jenae, I was a teenager and I saw her singing on stage, and I got goosebumps when she was singing. I still remember the moment. She doesn't remember meeting me that day, but that's another story. But I went up to her and I said, wow. I went up to her and I said, that was amazing. And but like, that's something that and actually when we, a bit before we started going out, we were actually in a group called KJD.
Kwesi Jenae and Dave.
Got very creative. And I entered a competition and I was like, ooh, I want to really experiment with my spoken word. I wonder what it would be like to have a singer singing stuff. So like, part of what drew me to her, and eventually budded into a relationship, but one of the initial things was, wow, she's so good at what she does and she's so confident. And many people around Jenae always would see, and even till today, like always would see, wow, she's amazing, she's super confident. But then the more I got to know her, I started like, oh, hold on, you're not always confident. There's something, so I just wanted to add to that.
It wow. Just grew. It really grew to a point where I just had to believe and stand on the mat, because if I broke down or was vulnerable, then people would see that it's like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So I actually started getting great at what I was doing within the mask, in terms of I was becoming a great singer, but still not believing it deep down. I was doing all the things that I was trying to prove to everybody, but actually I was sharpening my tools without realizing it, but still in the mindset and the narrative that I wasn't good enough. That I'm
Has that changed? Has that changed? Is there a belief now? Is this
well, that's where it comes to the second life begins moment. So we moved back to the Midlands. And anybody could think that, oh, Jenae, you're moving back to the Midlands. Jenae, that's a step back. You moved far away from the Midlands. You just wanted to be in London. I never thought I'd go back. I said I'd never go back to the Midlands.
The theme here.
Right? Yeah, it's a theme here. I will never be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
So on 2019, 4 days before Christmas, or a week before Christmas, I think 4 days before Christmas, I got a phone call. I was working for an organisation. I won't say who it is, but I was because it's too close. Working with organisation, great organisation, amazing things. A youth mentor, working with families, helping them to parent their. That's really weird. I'm not even a parent myself, but God put me in places where I was doing things, and just through the years, it just grew. The narrative started to shift, because people like Kwesi, church people, in like certain people who really know me and let in, and really encouraging my mom and my dad, my stepmom, certain things like throughout the years, then they start encouraging, and I'm starting to hear everything. And I lost my job, and the person that was calling me, telling me that, Jenae, I'm sorry, but we have to let you go. Unfortunately, what's happened is that the council for the students that you're working with who are missing in education, the council's lost all their money, like the contract's busted and they've lost their money, so they can't provide the students for you or their families. So I was like, oh, so said, you just have nothing, you have no students. I was like, okay. And I was really ill. I mean, I was ill. We'd just done, I'd been in Lincoln, hadn't I, that time. I'd had a phone call to say, could you go to Lincoln, be a part of this Christmas spectacular that they were doing? Your name has been given. My old worship leader is a friend, Sam Blake from Ealing Christian Centre in London, was called by somebody in Lincoln to say, I need a singer, an amazing singer who knows how to sing gospel, whatever. So they called me up, and I was like, oh, obviously I was the very last person on the list. That's how I used to think. I'm the very last person on the list. It's because there's nobody else. All the singers are busy in their Christmas productions. So Sam Blake does not want to give my name, give any of his singers at the moment because he needs them. So who's closer? And that's how I thought of it. But something innate in me was saying, just say yes. So I just said yes. So I did all of that. And then I was also doing the choir at my local church in Birmingham. Then I got really ill. Then this phone call came, and I was on that phone. I was designing something for a friend. I also do design and creative arts for people. And I just felt such a peace come over me. Like, this is right. I felt a peace, like this is exactly what needs to happen. And because now, instead of talking about all your dreams, instead I am a catalyst. They'd call me a catalyst at church because I could come out with ideas, solutions, do this, and let's supersize it. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? I said, Jenae, come on, Jenae, we're not ready for it. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm such an encourager for other people, but when it comes to encouraging myself, I'm the worst critic, worst at it. So I was just like, felt like God was saying to me, now, instead of just chatting about it, you have nothing else. So I'm going to kick you up the backside. And the songs that you have written, the things that I've placed on your heart, you have no other choice now but to do it. Because actually,
all this time she was writing.
I was writing, I was doing things.
There was always,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't.
Yeah, the narrative was breaking down. So now it's kind of like God could use me a little bit more, because now I've taken that mask off to do. Okay, maybe I'm okay. Okay, maybe I can do this. I've been singing with him. I've been writing with him. I actually wrote the script for My Great Transition. We did a whole production for it. Stage production. It was massive.
She's really good.
I do all these different things. But then when they said, oh, why don't you do that for yourself? I'm all right. And people just thought that I was at front doing loads of different things, but actually I'd been kind of hiding in plain sight. If that makes sense. So now I've got no job, but everything's like, now you can do what you need to do. No more. So you cannot even hide anymore. So I was like, oh, okay. Exposed. There's no hiding place. So now I put everything in. That's when it started to begin for me. Many people would say, oh, well, that's the worst thing that could happen. You lose your job 4 days before Christmas Day. What is that? And I was like, woohoo! Like, okay. I think this is great. And I was like, okay. And then everything started. We went to London for Christmas, very, very sick. And I actually think it was corona. I went to the hospital for it as well. It was so bad. And then it just wouldn't shift. Come back to Birmingham now. We have a big, massive whiteboard. Kwesi decides, right, we're going to look at what we can do. I thought he was going to be upset. Jenae's got no job, and now I've got to think about the bills, think about how we're going to do this and what she can do. But he's always been a big supporter of me, and I'm allowing him to encourage me now, before I wouldn't let him. But now I'm just like, okay, yeah. And he wrote down all the different people that I've been a part of. What I've done. I've sang with London Community Gospel Choir for a good few years. I've sang with all sorts, Madonna, Justin Timberlake. I sang on Tom Jones. I've been on the Cinderella soundtrack. I've sang with 1975. I've done things with,
She met Kendrick Lamar.
I met Kendrick Lamar. I've met a few things. I've sang in Lincoln. I've written songs. I've done so many different things. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know I'd done all that until you see it on paper. And it's like, that me? Is that me?
Yes, even when we sat down to write her bio, she was, oh no, I'm supposed to write this bio to send
I've
off
not
to this
done it
person.
now. They're
What
right.
can
I'm
I do?
exposed.
And I was like, that's easy. Like the problem is that there's too much to put. So when she finally saw it on paper, she was like, oh, do you know what I mean?
When
Yeah.
you said it.
See,
on
this shocks me because I just like because I've heard you sing. I just think you're amazing. So to hear you talking about yourself in that way, I'm just thinking, have you like not seen yourself and heard yourself?
Right?
Like it's
Exactly.
just like I don't get it. I don't get how that mismatch. I really yeah.
It just shows that imposter syndrome is real. And
It's
a
a
real
real
thing, because that's insane. Like even this week, sorry to throw you under the bus now, Jenae, when you said,
thanks.
but I'm not like a singer. And it's like, then what is a singer? I have no idea.
That was part of his dream. So earlier on this week, he had a dream, and basically within the dream, I'd said to the host, who was Kurt Franklin, asking him a question. I don't think I'm a singer. I'm not a singer, but I'm a singer. And he was looked, and then Kurt Franklin said, okay, so for the audience who didn't hear that, she's not a singer, but she wants to learn how to sing. And Kwesi looked at me as to go, why would you say that? Because now you've got him thinking that you're not a singer, but you're a professional singer. Now everybody thinks you. So he told me that morning, and I started to cry. Like literally, it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to start. Like it's such a process. It's been years of digging the crud, digging the rust off. Many people just chuck a rusty coin away, but it's not. If you get Coca-Cola and fizz off all the rubbish, then you start to say, oh, it's here. Get a little, scour brush and stuff. So I'm having to really dig away all the things and all the years of this narrative. And actually what I'm left with is what I actually learned and sharpened in, and actually knowing that that's mine, not because of this mask, but it's actually mine. This is what I've been doing. So having that dream, like Kwesi having that dream, it really put things into perspective. That day, it was Tuesday, actually. It was a Tuesday, and on the Monday I just buried my granddad. On that day I realized, I've got a vocal session with Jonathan Owusu, J.O. He's the one that was singing with us on Kwesi's gig. And he's our producer who produces Kwesi's album and also my music. So I had a whole Zoom day with him, not wanting to talk to nobody, just wanting to do my music. And we wrote a song just like that. He had produced a song called Fly. Like we both deal with the same issue. He's amazing. The same frustration that you guys have with what you've heard with me, because you know how I sing, is the same frustration I have with him. And he's literally, he could sit at a space station and operate. He can sing, he can dance, he can produce, he can listen to where you are and just start to play. And there's a few geniuses like that, but yet that fear complex, that imposter syndrome, we both deal with. Yeah. So when I spoke to him and told him about that dream and told him how we were feeling, he was like, he just laughed. He goes, I'm there as well. I feel like that. So then we started to create from that space. Mm-hmm. Kwesi said to me before he left, before I came downstairs to do that vocal session, he didn't have a full-on answer like, this is what I think I should say to you. He just said, I believe that God is telling you now to fly. Wow. Just do it. Just fly. You will make mistakes, inevitable. But the best thing about mistakes is that you can get up. It just depends how long you want to stay on the floor for. How are you going to get up? It's the getting up. How are you going to get up? How are you going to learn from those things? And then I realized, hold on, I've got a voice note with a song that I'd made up called Fly. Right. So I was like, okay. So then I went into the vocal session with Jonathan, told him about what was going on. And then I said, yeah, I've got this voice note. Let me play it for you. And then he was like, right. And then now that's going to be my next single. Excellent. It wasn't, but that's going to be my next single. It says something like. It sounds
so good.
Catchy, because I found myself singing it this morning.
Oh, yeah, you played it for you, Grace, didn't it?
Yeah. So it was a doorstep challenge. Again. And you gave it, and it stuck. That's the thing. I find it's been going round my head, so it's great. And
it's not just a thing that's speaking to myself. Everything that I want to put out, everything that we both do, we come to that we are one. We've amalgamated, is that right? Yeah, it's like we've been doing many things together for so many years, but actually we've never branded ourselves. So we wanted to have something that was actually me and Kwesi, husband and wife, Mr. K and Jenae Mills coming together. What would that sound like? Bringing house, dance, gospel, and soul, bringing it to spoken word and incorporate. So it would sound bits and pieces of who we are as individual artists, but actually when we come together, it's like, whoo, this is a fusion. So with our music, what we want to do as individuals, but also as We Are One Music, is create material that's not just speaking from a life point of view from where we are. We really want to be authentic with our art and our craft, but actually for other people to go, oh, I recognize that. That's what I felt like. There is a solution, and sometimes there's no solution, but it's just comforting to know I feel that way too, and I'm glad somebody else is doing that. It's relatable, and it's truth. It's your truth. So that's where my life has begun. So now it's just really taking hold of that and running with it and not looking back.
Okay, on that, and then helping people, because your story, it helps me. And actually, a side note as well, let me just put in now, Jenae is an incredible singer. I know we've said it, but I gave Kwesi his props as well. And Jenae, just like Shell said, it's goosebumps. The first time I heard you sing, it was like, what? I've never heard someone sing live like that, and I've heard amazing singers. You've got an incredible gift, which is why
Thank you. I'm taking it in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Being kind to myself, I'm taking it in. Yeah.
I mean, somebody who sang with like Tom Jones and that. I won't even say Madonna shade. No joke. no, joke. But like,
it was collective. It was with the choir, but it was really good.
No, only joking. No. Props. Yeah, but it's just, that's incredible. You're an incredibly gifted. So what, Shell was just saying as well about, what was your turning point, and you talked about that, obviously losing your job at the end of 2019. It's a full Dickensian story you've got going on. Going to London at 16, coming back, losing your job before Christmas. I could do a novel for you.
No, that's what he says. Like my whole life, he says, "Oh, I could write a book." There's a biopic. Like, I'm just happy that it's coming to that point where I'm finally flying.
Yeah. So, how would you say? Because imposter syndrome, I think, is the biggest thing that's kind of like come out. That was a real barrier and stuff. How did you identify it, and then how would you advise people to maybe get past it? If you got any tips, you might not have the answers, but what are ways that you can get past that imposter syndrome, because it is so paralyzing, I think.
I haven't fully gotten over it.
No,
that's just the truth.
I
think something that, because I don't think it's impossible to get over it. I just think it's something that you have to work on constantly. It's every day telling yourself that you are worth, you are of value, and that my faith is a big thing, because I need to see how God sees me. And if I don't see myself as that, then I am rubbishing what God has done. His complete fingerprint is on me. He's given me the skill. So when, for example, if somebody says to you, "You're an amazing singer," what they're saying is, wow, that gift that God has given you is amazing. He's blessed you with an amazing gift. The soon as I, with my mouth, go, "Oh, it's okay, it's not good," I'm rubbishing what the Creator has given me. Wow. So I'm rubbishing his handiwork. It wasn't mine. He's given to me. It's a gift for me to give to somebody else. Okay. So even if I don't like the sound of my voice, and I'm still learning, it took me years to even listen back to my own voice, because I didn't like the way it sounded. Yes, but that's the truth. Yeah. I then have to get to that point of going, well, actually, it's blessed you and it's impacted you. How can I rubbish your experience of something that I'm giving out? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not meant for me. My voice is not meant for me. Just when my mum would, my real mum would sing to me, "Yes, Jesus loves me." Like she would sing that over me, but actually it was reminding me that I'm loved. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's not, I have to recognize that this is not my own. This is for somebody else's breakthrough. I'm a natural encourager. So that's my gifting. So if I don't operate in that, I am what's depleting myself. I'm actually depleting what I'm supposed to give to this world. If you look at, imposter syndrome is a big thing, but I'm not an imposter. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not an imposter. That's what I've put on myself. So all I need to do is take it off. But it's not an easy thing.
It's a learned habit.
It's a learned habit.
You have to unlearn that bad habit.
Because actually when those voices that you hear of yourself are your own voice.
Yeah.
But it's not you talking. It's like another force trying to stop you from being who you're meant to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So when you create a new narrative for yourself, it don't work, because actually you find yourself with your shoulda, woulda, couldas. There's many people, unfortunately, at this time, like not many people get the privilege of living till 94. My granddad got that privilege. He lived a full life, made many mistakes, but not everybody's getting that privilege this past. But you have been given breath in your lungs to be the true self. Imagine you only have this day given to you.
Yeah.
You know tomorrow's not promised. Many people woke up and walked out their homes today and did not come back. Right? That's the reality. Many people in the eastern side of the world deal with that on a regular. Do you know what I mean? They've dealt with plagues, famine, all this. Us in the West, this is all, they deal with that every day. It's nothing new for them. It's just another virus. Do you know what I mean? But if you have today, right, and you decide to live your day, the breath that God has given you, as an imposter, that's doing a disservice to yourself, disservice to community and society and culture, disservice to your family as a wife or a husband or a daughter or a sister, disservice to who gave you the gifts in the first place.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
You're working against the narrative, what should be there. You know, it's like a child is supposed to eat and grow into an adult, and if they stop eating, it's like you're working against what the natural order should be. So there's going to be consequence.
It's the same with your mobile phone. If you have let's say you have a Samsung, you ain't taking it to Apple to get fixed. You're taking it to Samsung. You're taking it to an Android. But many people in their lives are pretending to be something that somebody else is, and then they're going to try and get fixed, but they're not getting fixed fully. They're not actually even getting the healing or the therapy that they need, because they're going somewhere else. And actually, this is where you're meant to be. And people are living like that on a day-to-day. I've lived that for a few years. I faked, as I say, fake it till you make it. Do you know what I mean? I've lived that way, and I just thank God that He's kept me. I had something said. I had a dream, or one of my songs. It's called "We've Been Waiting." It goes. The words go. You can't hide any longer. It's now or never. It's now or never. It's now or never. You feel it getting stronger. It's now or never. And then it continues, and the chorus. So that line, it's now or never, was something I had in a dream. I felt God saying to me, you either do it now or you'll never do it. And that scared me. Imagine seeing somebody else's, and there's many in the world, seeing so many other people's, they are doing the blessed. They've got the voice, or they may not even have the greatest voice out of you.
We had a friend of ours who's not a singer, and he said, oh, imagine if one day I wake up and I have your voice. You don't have it anymore. I have your.
It freaked me out, because I told them that dream. It was that day. I told him that dream, and he was like, "Oh, imagine if I," and he was just having a laugh, but it freaked me out. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what if?" I don't think God would do that, but what if? If nothing's impossible, that He wakes up and has my voice and just ruins it, and then it just doesn't even do the best of jobs. Could you imagine? There's people, and I'm like, but I had that chance, and now it's taken from me. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
I can't live with that. The grave is the richest place on the earth because it's filled with unsung songs. I've heard that quote, and that is so true. Unsung songs, podcasts that were never made, drawings, art that was never produced or created, books that were never written. You want to go to the grave completely empty. But that's what I'm saying. Many people at this moment in time don't have that opportunity. It's gone. It's done. So you can only be left with what you were able to do on this earth, whether you are and I won't say for many of the younger ones, like 10 or 13, but because they're just, you know what I mean? But there's people that are 10 and 12 that are walking 2 miles, 3 miles for NHS. They're doing the most in their little short lives that they've been on this earth. And here's us, and I'm talking to myself, that's sitting and grumbling, oh, this quarantine, oh, I want this to be over. Oh, what am I going to do? Instead of actually working on the things that you've already got given in your hands
already,
but we're not using it. We just like, oh, give us something different. You know what I mean? We're happy to jump and skip.
Because one of the things I was thinking, Jenae, sorry to interrupt you, I was just actually thinking when you were talking about the sort of just before you lost your job, and it sounded like it made me think of the seasons thing, because it made me think of like you didn't just you already had the groundwork. So that when that event happened, you were like, then you could fly. And it just made me think of the whole, I'm thinking lockdown as well, but in general, kind of the sort of even before you're ready to be putting in that work, and you were doing that and you were like ready for that moment. Yeah, that just really struck me.
Yeah, it was very much a decision. You wake up and you make a choice. You know, many people say, I always say this, somebody said this to me and I never understood it. I choose to love my husband. Do you know what I mean? It's a choice. I may not like him today, but I choose to continue working at our marriage, working at commitment, so even though I don't like the process, in order to see the fruits, I choose to continue. I choose to swallow my pride, swallow these things that have riddled my brain, because the brain's the battlefield, and many people are struggling with that, and listen to what people who have got my best interests at heart, and listen to them and who God has placed around me, and go, okay, even if I don't believe it as much for myself, I'm going to use the faith and stand on what they are believing for me, and saying, if they that's enough for me, and I'm going to, and then build it. It's going to have to be enough, and build from there. Everything started to happen. And in that job that I had, trained me a lot. It worked. They really spoke into my life. And though I didn't like how it finished and ended, and I could have complained about it and wrote a letter and said, what was this about? But I just felt this peace. I was like, why am I so just free? Making that decision to say yes to go to Lincoln and sing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When everything in me was saying, say no, hide, pretend you can't sing. They don't really want you. They wanted somebody else, but you just so happen to be the only one available. So I had to just stop my mind and just close my ears to that and go, no, I'm wanted. My voice is doing something. And when you hear the effects that it has on other people, it's just like,
to what you said. Like, so I think in analogies a lot, and as we're talking, an analogy of a chef came to mind. So let's say there's someone who people keep saying, oh my days, you're so gifted in the kitchen, and they're like, and they have zero confidence. They're like, I'm not a great cook. I'm not Jamie Oliver or give me Gordon. Some cooks, Gordon or whatever. I'm just this. And it's like, actually, when every day comes and you need to eat, you still need to cook food. Or let's say you have a family you need to feed. You can be in your feelings and in your thoughts of, but I'm not a great cook. And they're like, oh, mommy, daddy, I'm hungry. Oh, but sorry, I'm not a great, like, you don't even do that. You're like, well,
I've got to do something.
I may not feel I'm a great cook, but I need to eat. They need to eat. So I'm just going to get busy in the kitchen. And what happens is, after a while, you may start feeling confident a lot more, or you may, but it's like, you can't sit down and wait to feel confident before you start cooking, because you're going to starve and the other people are going to starve, and the devil finds work for idle hands. So it's like, you may not feel that your podcast is the greatest podcast ever, your album is the greatest album ever, but it's like, but actually when I do this, I'm plugging into something that is my innate purpose and part of my DNA, and people I'm seeing the visible results, how they're being blessed. So
consistency.
Like, do you know what? I'm still working through these feelings, but let me just get busy. We don't always want to go to work in the morning for those who have jobs, but you don't say, well, I don't feel it today, so I'm not going to go in. No, you go in on those Mondays and you just get busy.
Yeah. I think the thing is, feelings come and go.
Yeah.
But what's your truth? What's the truth? What's fact?
The truth, yeah.
The truth is, I can sing. I'm a singer. I was made to sing. I can do performing arts. I'm a creative director. I can draw. I can bring people ideas. I can do all these little things.
You're an encourager.
And I'm an encourager.
Use these things to
my
encourage.
feelings have to match the rest. So though in my feelings will come and go, because today I feel okay, tomorrow I'll feel rubbish. But what's fact? What stays the same? And that's what you build on. And your feelings have to match. It has to match up to it. You know.
Okay. Question for you, actually, because of what you've shared as well, Kwesi, from our previous conversation, and what you're sharing now, Jenae. How do you balance? And I'm speaking to you as creators, but for anyone who's got a gift within them, the being kind to yourself and yet taking the responsibility of what you've been given as your gift seriously. How do you do that? Because we talked about being paralyzed by the pressure of like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, so I'm not producing, or it's not that good. But then with that kindness. So you two have been obviously operating in your gifts for a long time. How do you balance those two sometimes conflicting emotions?
Yeah, so well, I'll tell you what I think, and you can tell me if I'm answering the question right or not. I think feedback is a very important thing, and I think many of us have lost the art of giving feedback and receiving feedback. So I remember during my course, a big thing was, and still it has been now in my teaching career, a big thing in the course was every single lesson that you teach, you're given feedback on that. So they make you do all this crazy preparation, you teach the lesson, then you sit down with your mentor or whoever else, and they're like, okay, how do you think that went? You get it all out and they're like, okay, well, this. And you had to constantly learn how to take feedback and improve on it. But I realized I feel like it's a strong point for me to give and receive feedback. And I just thought that was normal. But then I'd meet other people who didn't know how to, I don't know if it's the correct word, criticism. Like criticism sounds very negative to me. Constructive criticism, that makes it good. But people who we would teach a lesson, sometimes I'd teach a lesson together during my training, and we'd make a mistake. And the person I'd be with was like, that went to pot. That was like, oh. And then when we'd receive feedback, what I would hear as, oh, you did this well, this is how you could improve. They would hear it as, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish. So they'd go away like, it wasn't good. And I'd be like, no, that was great. Now we know what not to do. And I think like as a creative person, we're very passionate about excellence. And you have to, there's a difference between being excellent and being a perfectionist. Perfection is that thing forever, it's that carrot on the stick. No matter how far you run, it's always, you never get it. You can't reach
Fix yourself a sandwich.
So it's learning how to keep improving, how when you do a single release or you do an album or you do a podcast or you do whatever, like, okay, how did that go? And I found it powerful to use the acronyms WWW, what went well, EBI, even better if. You can put everything into these two categories.
And we do that for everything, not just for the school.
So you don't finish something and just say, that was total rubbish. Why is it not sounding like, no, that's wrong. Well, you have to say, everything that you do, you can find a silver lining. What did I do well? Okay, cool. Let me keep with that. What could be improved? And you have to, and it's a constant thing. So I've found that very helpful, keeping me on one hand, celebrating and being content. And on the other hand, continuing to strive for excellence.
For me, I think it's important. Like I'm still searching for a mentor. I've never wanted one before. Well, I've wanted one, but I always thought, well, what if I know how to encourage, and because I know how to do that, I know what they will say. Do you know what I mean?
Like a therapist looking for a therapist.
So, I mean, I even had work therapy, like occupational therapy, isn't that what we call it? Yeah, therapist. And I was really stressed, and and I was like, oh, okay. And I was talking to her, and I was just like this on the phone, like, yeah, and now you're gonna say this, now you're gonna say that, and I'm already self-diagnosing myself. I can already see what's wrong with me. And she's like, oh, it seems like, you seem to got it together, you know what you're doing. So I'm always like that. And most people don't think I have an issue. So they already think I have it all together. So when I'm now approaching, so they're like, what? They don't really take it seriously because well, do you know, you've got it all together. It's not true. It doesn't happen. So Kwesi's got a mentor And then I actually have somebody who deals with my vocals. She's a vocal alchemist, like she's a different kind of vocal teacher. She deals with therapy, she deals with the inner. She gets to the root of an issue. And then once she's dealt and organized, she says, stay there and deal with it. And it's like, oh, though that sentence you say of yourself, she can just hear from you speaking. She's already locked down. This is who you are. This is what you say of yourself. And it's not, and this is what needs to be done. It's crazy mad. But because of her, I've been able to be kinder to myself. So be kind, especially when it comes to vocals and singing. Because of Kwesi's mentor, he's able to, it's like there's a transition period going on. In the quarantine time, there's been transition. It's new steps for us. It's new, ideas are coming like nobody's business. He's already somebody, this mentor, who's already established himself and stuff, who's been through things, kind of come out of them and whatnot. And he's teaching Kwesi the manhood that Kwesi wants to learn, of, the new, as being a man, being a father, being a husband, these are the steps happening. I'm looking for that at the moment in terms of, okay, being a wife, being a mother, being a friend, being a sister, and being a successful woman. What does that look? Because our next steps are going to be taking us in those places. So I need to look for them now. So it's been difficult, but that's how I feel we balance it out. It's not just us two. You know what I mean? And we just looking at, he will let me down. I will let him down.
Sorry.
So I can't put all my eggs in his basket. Do you know what I mean? And vice versa. That's why we have faith. Do you know what I mean? To go back to God. But also God has placed different people around us. Like yourself, Grace, and where utilize the people that are around you, because they have got something to say.
No one's an island.
Nobody is an island. So that's what helps us being, kind to ourselves, but also successful in the areas that we're working in. It's a balance.
Fantastic. If I had a mic, I'd drop it, but it was not for me to drop it to you. That is great advice. And actually another thing to say as well, you both are amazing encouragers, and I think you're both great gift spotters, if that's a thing. Like it's kind of scary actually, but
oh yeah, I remember you.
Saying like, the comfort zone's not good. You know what's good about a comfort zone? Comfort. That's nice. That's it. But you're quite good at pushing people out of that to the best into their gifts. So I think you've both got a joint ministry in that as well as individually. So thank you. Yeah. How'd you go about finding a mentor then?
I think it's more like, it's about knowing who you are, where you are at the moment, and being honest with yourself, what you're struggling with, what you're doing well in, and where you're going. Your dreams also can indicate that, like the things, the visions, the things that you've had in your heart, like, okay, I've got this, I've got that. You can have a mentor for anything. You can have a mentor for your well-being. You can have a mentor for the particular thing that you're doing, like the skill that you've got, whether you're an artist, whether you're a comedian, whether you're a BBC presenter or teacher, whatever. You can find where they are. But God leaves little indicators around. Do you know what I mean? So for Kwesi, his one was, we've known him for years. And he's not biased. He's the kind of person that would tell you your armpits stink. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't let you go out. That's a friend. That's a friend. Like, do you know what I mean? I got those kind of friends. There's a few of them that wouldn't let you go out and mess.
One of mine like that.
Yeah, good. But those are keepers. Those are not just friends. Those are your family. Do you know what I mean?
I think like a big part of choosing a mentor is, as Jenae said, knowing where you want to go, and then you have to look at, all right, who do I know who's already there? Or you may not know them, but like personally, but like, what does that look like? So I actually remember writing a list of names.
Didn't you? Yeah, you did.
Because I used to be more proactive in being mentored years ago, and then I just kind of took a big break from that. And it was more, I think late last year into this year, I was like, I need to get back on this. And I said, well, I feel like I'm being positioned to be a leader in my career as a maths teacher, with the gifting, with the kind of people that keep coming into my life, but I don't feel ready as a leader. I constantly feel, I don't feel experienced enough. So who do I know who's kind of already doing that? And then also when we start a family and all that, like being a parent, so one of the names was this person we're talking about, and but again, I was like telling Jenae, oh yeah, I really should get a mentor. I'm thinking of this person, and she's like, call them now.
Call them now.
And I'm like, wait, now?
No, I was like, just call them now.
Yeah, call them now. Like Jenae's like that. I would think about it, and Jenae's like the action.
Just do it. Because you want me to be like that with my things. So just do the thing. So.
But yeah, I think that's probably an underrated thing, like being mentored in this day and age. It's probably not a skill people know how to seek for, or it feels weird. Or do I go to someone and say, be my mentor?
But also, it's like they don't look for you. Yeah. Mentors don't look for you.
If you're hungry, you need to
look for them, and you need to continue. A good mentor will not keep calling you up.
And I didn't really have like a very strong idea of, okay, this is how it's going to work. Yeah. I just kind of, babbled to them. This is everything I'm going through. I don't know how this works. What do you think? And then they kind of started helping me.
And being a good mentor, they're able to listen to what you're saying and go, okay, I can identify 3 main points here: manhood, being a father to be, right? When that comes, and also being successful. Okay, let's just say, as an example, those are the 3 areas. So I know that now every Tuesday or every other week, we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to give you every 2 weeks, and I'm going to give you some challenges to do. That's going to help you in those things.
Homework.
And and that's what happens. And then if he's not going to call you up, or she's not going to call you up to check on you, that's your business. If you want to be mentored, it's true. If you want to be mentored and you want to get somewhere, then you've got to also do the work. Do you know what I mean? So in those times that those challenges are given, you do the most, because you realize you don't want to be where you are. You want to be over there. But nobody's going to do it for you. So then by that time, you could be on the phone and say, oh, well, I didn't do the challenge. Okay. The mentors, okay. Yeah.
But
you need to do the challenge.
In addition to that as well, besides setting homework, they also open up their personal lives.
Exactly.
And there's powerful stories that have been shared. There's stuff I'm struggling with that I speak to my mentor. And it's like, oh yeah, this was an area in my life. And I'm like, what?
Like, you're just like.
So then you start hearing those gems, and they start walking you through what helped them, So that's why I think it's really important for people to have those conversations.
Yeah, definitely. And you never know as well, sometimes on the off chance, you're teaching them something.
Yeah.
Because there's something that they would have thought was insignificant in their lives, and it's been brought back up. And then you see, oh, I never dealt with it the way you've dealt with it. Actually, what you've done is pretty cool.
And also, even to add to that, the mentor, one of the things he told me was he was just so blessed by me calling him up. And he said he's been in a season where many people like me have been popping up. So it's making him have to level up.
Everything's clicking.
Do you know what? This is who I am. Yeah. So I need to walk in this more. So it's really, really cool how it all connects.
I think it's everybody's job to be a mentor. I think it's everybody in some shape or form.
Yeah. We talked about that.
If you keep everything to yourself and don't share it out, like I said before, like you have to be able to put back in. Yeah. Whether it's local women in the church, or whether it's the school kid, or if it's a friend or whatever else, you also need to give. You have to pass the baton.
It reminds me of a song I have on here called "Pass the Baton."
Pass the baton.
Yes, where I talk about this very thing.
You just happen to be here.
God.
Between dreams and reality.
Yeah. No, but talk about mentor being shelled in series 1. It was our age episode 3, by the way, available on Spotify. The leaf out of Kwesi's book.
That's it, man.
That's it. That's what you got to do.
Mentoring, and actually, what have we got to offer? Do you know what I mean? Like, we've benefited from people, probably unofficially, not in the formal way you described, but it's a great thing. We've got a lot. No one's an island, like you say, and there's nothing new under the sun. There is someone.
There is someone
can help. So no, thank you so much. Wow, I'm kind of conscious that we might be running out of time. I think we've been gifted some extra time by Zoom, which is amazing.
That's fine. Can I just say it's been an absolute honor, like being here on the show, and like you guys, please carry on. I've been tuning in to the episodes and listening.
They are legit.
And I love it. I think one of my favorites so far is when you had Duncan talking about comedy and all that, and just the real stories. I think is really important. So please continue.
Yeah, don't stop.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, thanks for sharing. It's been really lovely to have you.
Thank you.
You're officially friends of the podcast. Yeah, exactly. No badge yet, lockdown.
We will make one.
Yeah. Yeah. But before we go, where can we find you? Where can people, social media handles and stuff?
Okay, you can go first.
So my social media handles at MRK Poetry. So that's my Mr. K handle. Jenae?
My social media handle is I am Jenae Mills on everything. So I am Jenae Mills, Instagram, Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I'm trying. But...
Girl, me and you. We need to find the mentor to help us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then
together
we
have We Are One _ music. So again, that's on just Instagram.
That's on Instagram at the moment. Yeah. So We Are One _ music. Yeah. And there's things coming.
You'll be hearing more.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Go and follow Jenae and Kwesi. Mr. K. Follow them. Follow us if you're not already.
Yes.
At Life Begins Podcast as well. But thank you so much, guys. And,
thank you.
All the best. We look forward to hearing more stuff.
Cool. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.